let me talk to ya.
LA Knight, a man who for years now has seemed destined to break through the glass ceiling of WWE superstardom. Yet somehow, time after time, he's been sidelined, misused, misbooked, and undercut by a system that has never truly appreciated the megastar he is. This is the story of LA Knight's rise and where we are now. His constant battles against bad booking and how WWE may have dropped the ball on one of their most organically over stars in years. Because time and time again, it is baffling how this man is still where he is. A man that even this past week on Monday Night Raw, he's still in the same cook chair that he's been in the world title scene.
Why? Because Raw, with or without the title, have to accept the isness of me. I am what is, with everybody saying. Yeah.
And it's extra frustrating for an LA Knight guy like me, because I try to apply logical thinking to this great sport which often doesn't have any. But I think to myself, maybe he's not over enough. No, that's not it. Maybe he doesn't have an over catchphrase that they can make money on.
Let me talk to you! And that's not an insult, that is just a fact of life. Nah.
Whose game is it? It's LA Knight's game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe it's not quite like Jey Uso, who they made world champion over him. Jey has a catchphrase that is over, and it's 4 letters, 1 word.
Yeah. War games, yeah!
But in order to truly understand where we're at with LA Knight, first, we must go back. When LA Knight debuted in NXT in 2021, fans immediately recognized his Kavorka. The charisma, the promos, the swagger, it all screamed future main eventer.
But look at it this way, Wade. I ain't here to suck up to you. Because if you so much as look at me the wrong way, I'll drag your ass out of retirement just to walk you right back in.
But while others like Karrion Kross and Bronson Reed were pushed, LA Knight's booking was inconsistent even from the start. He debuted with strong promos, but was quickly used as a stepping stone for developing talent like Cameron Grimes and Braun Breaker. Even when LA Knight won the $1 Million Championship, the reign was treated as a novelty, not a legitimate title run. Despite the momentum that the man formerly known as Eli Drake had coming into NXT, it seemed like they weren't willing to fully commit, and this is a pattern that has followed him ever since. WWE was unsure whether LA Knight's throwback promo style would fit their vision for NXT 2.0's youthful rebranding, and thus, he was somewhat lost in the shuffle. If LA Knight had been a product of NXT a few years prior to that, the argument could be made for him having a better run, although we'd be foolish not to acknowledge the fact Black and Gold NXT had many stars as well that were very over, who were treated well in that era of NXT, but when they went to main, they were squandered. I look at Ricochet, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Aleister Black in his first run, Bobby Roode, EC3.
It's 2025 and I still don't think I'm completely over the way they completely dumped on EC3.
It's not like Black and Gold didn't create stars, but once they went up to main roster, they were fumbled much like LA has been in many respects. I also have to say, sorry if I still sound a little bit nasally, I'm still a little bit sick.
Sick and tired of the way WWE has been mistreating LA Knight, yeah.
Then when LA Knight hit the main roster, fans expected bigger things. Finally, a playground where a megastar like him can come in and make an immediate impact. The kind of guy that could go toe-to-toe with the world champion of the time, Roman Reigns.
Instead, we got Max Dupree.
WWE rebranded him as a male modeling agency manager, stripping away everything that made him special.
Men in all of fashion. I'm sure you all agree. They embody the creed of maximum male models.
The Maximum Male Models gimmick was dead on arrival. It was a comedic act that didn't allow Knight to wrestle or speak like himself.
My name is Max Dupree, and I'm ready to get to work. Okay, pleasure to meet you. Get to work.
Fans online began chanting for LA Knight again before he'd even re-debuted. To the credit of the man, LA Knight leaned into it and tried his best to make it work. His charisma kept the gimmick alive, at least on life support, but the writing was on the wall. WWE didn't see him as a serious player. Thankfully, in late 2022, the tides began to turn. Max Dupree was dropped and LA Knight was reborn. Yeah!
What I'm not Max, what I am, who I am, LA Knight. Yeah.
I knew that was LA Knight all along.
With his natural persona back in full force, perhaps this was WWE finally realizing what they had. And in contextualizing this part of his story, this was just past Triple H taking over WWE. Of course, prior in the year, the allegations came out and Vince McMahon stepped away from WWE, leading to Triple H taking over, thus leading to a renaissance of returning stars and gimmicks that made sense. LA Knight's feud with Bray Wyatt at the start of 2023 should have been a launching pad. He was done with the Maximum Male models and feuding with a former world champion. Not to mention, he was in a segment with a huge name like The Undertaker around that time.
That's about what I thought. I didn't think anybody'd show up because they ain't got enough to fit.
It felt like he was finally rubbing shoulders with the right people under the right system. And not to mention, for further context, he very nearly got fired when Vince McMahon was in charge, so if Vince had stayed under power, who knows if LA Knight would have even became a thing. But instead, it became another case of poor timing and poor decision making. The Mountain Dew pitch black match between LA Knight and Bray Wyatt at the 2023 Royal Rumble.
Uncle Howdy just launched himself off the top through LA Knight.
It was heavily criticized as a product placement stunt, something that would become commonplace in the Triple H era, but that's for another day. Knight was positioned as Bray's sacrificial lamb rather than a real rival, yet somehow he still came out more over than ever before. His mic skills, crowd connection, and catchphrase caught fire. Less than a year prior on SmackDown, he was just beginning to introduce the "yeah" chant to a new audience.
From here on, you can all get your ticket punched. Why? Because whose game is it? It's LA Knight's game. Yeah.
And fast forward to the spring of the following year, it had begun to become a true movement. Despite minimal TV time or storyline depth, his popularity soared. Arguably, WWE hadn't seen this kind of organic fan power in a male star since Daniel Bryan's Yes movement. And I say male star because, in fairness, Becky Lynch's rise was much of a similar vibe, and it's not just me saying it, other people. But this wasn't the last kicker movement, this wasn't the Yes movement, it was the Yeah movement. Or so we thought. By the time Money in the Bank 2023 rolled around, LA Knight was the clear fan favorite to win the whole thing. Every arena erupted when his music hit. Social media had already crowned him the next briefcase winner, and given what was going on with the world title around the time, it seemed like LA Knight winning the briefcase and becoming big gold world champion on Raw just made sense. He wasn't going to bother the Roman Reigns WWE title scene since the story with Cody Rhodes was always going to be finished. But Seth Rollins held the big gold, fighting off the likes of the Judgment Day, and at the time it just made sense, and yet still, WWE didn't pull the trigger.
Not like this. Not like this! Oh no. No, relax. Oh my king God.
Yeah, that's me in the London crowd at Money in the Bank 2023 expecting LA Knight to win, but nah.
Instead, they gave the briefcase to Damian Priest, a solid choice but not the moment fans were begging for. This was another sign that WWE didn't want to ride the LA Knight wave, they wanted to control it. Reports later surfaced that creative didn't see him as a top guy, citing his age and similarity to Attitude Era stars as reasons to hold back. Even after Money in the Bank, LA Knight refused to fade away. Through sheer charisma and mic power, he forced himself into relevancy. And by late 2023, it looked like WWE was finally listening. His feud with The Miz showcased exactly what made him special. Sharp promos, crowd connection, and that undeniable star aura. He won decisively in their match at Payback 2023.
The blood force trauma. Cover. Win.
Then came what looked like his biggest moment yet, teaming with John Cena at Fastlane 2023. The megastar and the face of the entire company, a passing of the torch moment.
Enforcer is down! Oh! Jimmy Uso is down!
And for a moment, fans believed this was it. The real push was coming. John Cena's endorsement felt like WWE's blessing. LA Knight was now rubbing shoulders with the biggest name in the business, and the reaction was off the charts. But just like before, WWE's follow-through fell short. After Fastlane, the story fizzled. There was no meaningful continuation or conclusion of this partnership with John Cena, no major title feud, and no significant storyline to cement his momentum. Even as Knight consistently got some of the loudest reactions on SmackDown, WWE kept him circling mid-card feuds with short bursts of spotlight with no lasting payoff. By the time WrestleMania 40 came around, Knight was once again on the sidelines, only to be added to the card late after fan backlash. LA Knight's first WrestleMania appearance, and it was against AJ Styles, and he won. But despite the support of fans and even Cena himself, WWE once again failed to seize the moment. LA Knight had the heat, the look, the fans behind him, even John Cena himself, but still, creative was not behind him. WWE's mistreatment of LA Knight isn't just about him. It reflects a larger pattern, the company's discomfort with organic popularity. From Rusev Day to Zack Ryder in 2011-2012 to Daniel Bryan before he forced their hand. WWE often resists a handful of stars who rise outside of their planned narratives. LA Knight represents fan-driven momentum, not corporate storytelling or nepotism. And while his popularity remains undeniable, WWE continues to walk the tightrope between acknowledging it and containing it. But after years of stop-start backing and near misses, WWE finally gave the fans what they'd been asking for. At SummerSlam 2024, LA Knight defeated Logan Paul to win the United States Championship, his first main roster title.
And Paul, oh, Knight caught him! BFT, but first trauma, cover by Knight! LA Knight wins the United States title!
But while the moment was electric, it came with a familiar problem. WWE treated the reign more as a merchandising opportunity than a creative reset. Knight was booked strongly, yes, but he wasn't elevated. Instead of feuding with main event names, his defenses came against lower mid-card challengers like Santos Escobar, Ludwig Kaiser, and Andrade. Solid matches and people I can respect, but not the kind to raise a champion's stock. Still, LA Knight did what he always does, he made it work. He carried that belt all over the world, cutting fiery promos about taking the US title worldwide, proving once again that his charisma could carry even mediocre creative. For a few months, LA Knight felt like finally he was the megastar WWE kept pretending he wasn't. But the celebration wouldn't last long. In November 2024 at Survivor Series War Games, LA Knight's reign came to a sudden end when Shinsuke Nakamura dethroned him. It certainly wasn't a bad match, far from it, but it felt abrupt, like WWE were pulling the plug and pulling the rug on his momentum just as it reached its full charge. It was also extra baffling considering WWE's mistreatment of Shinsuke Nakamura over the years.
It will all be over. Congratulations to Shinsuke Nakamura.
Which has been even worse than LA Knight, and now we're deciding to do something with him? Knight's loss didn't feel like part of a greater story. It felt like another reset and another attempt to quell his momentum. Shinsuke, on the other hand, was re-energized for a brief spell, but Knight again was left without a clear direction, and Nakamura's reign left a lot to be desired. The fans immediately began demanding a rematch, and the crowd support forced WWE's hand many months later. On the 7th of March 2025, LA Knight won the title back on SmackDown. It was another example of the fans' will overpowering WWE's hesitation, but his second reign was short-lived. At WrestleMania 41, Knight defended the US title against Jacob Fatu, the powerhouse newcomer with momentum aligned with the Bloodline's newest iteration. Knight fought hard, even hitting a BFT, but a distraction from Solo Sikoa and Fatu's raw power ended it all. Fatu captured the US title, and Knight was left staring at the lights yet again. The message was clear. No matter how loud the fans cheered, WWE was always going to pull him back down before he could climb too high. But where we are now might just be the worst problem of them all. By mid-2025, LA Knight's name was once again circulating in the world title picture. Rumors swirled that he was in line for a shot at Cody Rhodes' undisputed WWE Championship. It would have been a perfect story of the underdog megastar finally getting his moment. Instead, WWE chose to pivot. Other faces like Gunther, Solo Sikoa, and Jacob Fatu were pushed into the spotlight. Knight had been teased in tournament brackets, featured in #1 contender matches, but always fell short, often through interferences or convoluted finishes. Even in the latter half of 2025, he's either dealing with the Vision constantly every single week, or he's being overshadowed by someone else getting that opportunity. And I think by now everybody has noticed a pattern. Every time he reaches striking distance of the main event, Creative would find a way to protect others, but not him. And dare I say it, it's very Dolph Ziggler reminiscent. A guy that did in fact reach the mountaintop and managed to become world champion. However, once that initial momentum would reach its zenith and he got injured, WWE did everything in their power to squash it from there on. It isn't a lack of skill, popularity, or effort with LA Knight. It seems to be a lack of trust. It almost seems like WWE believes LA Knight's window has passed, despite the fact that there are many people on the roster of a similar age. A man who is turning 43 in a matter of days. His moment may have came too late in WWE's eyes. LA Knight's rise and repeated setbacks tell the story of a man that just refuses to fade. No matter how hard the system tries to dim his light, he goes ahead and says, "Nah." Now, with his very recent run on Monday Night Raw and his sights still set on the World Heavyweight Championship, plus with the fact Seth Rollins is out leaving another spot open, I really want to delusionally believe that we are on the brink of this finally happening. However, if I zoom out, I can see a scenario where, much like in the past, Knight's momentum will reach its zenith only for WWE to pull the rug again, instead opting for a further Jey Uso character development storyline and title reign. Or perhaps they go with CM Punk finally holding the belt for longer than 5 minutes again. Maybe they look to the younger future of Bronson Reed or Bron Breakker. Or perhaps the underdog from the underground, Sami Zayn, wins the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, and we continue this bloodline saga with the former right-hand man and the honorary Uso at WrestleMania. But it is just a shame that time and time again, LA Knight proves to be the right person in the wrong place at the wrong time.